but honestly, he's definitely stellar. Coming into picks and bans right now, we are now seeing what these teams are up to, and it's CLG doing a lot more of the same.
Yeah, first 3 bans are basically the same team-specific bans we've seen, with the Jax being banned as well. Just speak a little bit more about Laud on Envy, though. Like, when you're looking at this Envy roster being put together, thinking, okay, how hard can Seraph and Ninja carry these guys?
Right.
But in actuality, what's happening is Laud is right there with them, carrying games, and I think that's kind of what's taken them from what people expect to be a middle to bottom tier team to potentially a top tier team, definitely middle tier. One of those two.
In my mind, they are a top tier team. They've played Immortals very close. They've, beaten Liquid. They've beaten Apex. Phoenix One and Energy aren't doing too well right now as far as their wins go, but I mean, they are clearly going to be a playoff team if they keep playing this well, and maybe it gets a bit better from there. Final ban comes through as Team Envy bans away Ryze, which means that Bard and Karma are left. That also means the first big Trundle comes through as secure for Darshan.
I think this has worked out so well for CLG this far. I like the bans from both teams, actually. The Lissandra and the Ryze coming in as the final bans for both CLG and Envy essentially ban out the champion that won the team the game.
Right.
Or was the most impactful in winning the team the game. And then, as far as Darshan having the 1v1 lane priority over Seraph with the Trundle first pick, I think that locks it down for this matchup, especially with the Swain being banned.
It's then interesting to look at their ban choices and say, is Huhi's Azir better than Darshan's Trundle compared to the next one up? And that was the choice they went for, of course. They thought that was correct, and they go ahead and grab the best bot lane they pretty much can in League of Legends, and that's going to be Karma Lucian.
Yeah, of course, though, Bard is still available. If CLG want to get that for aphromoo later on in the draft, and CLG will also get their pick of the jungle, so I don't fault Envy for picking the Karma and the Lucian. They could also flex Karma to the mid lane if they really want to later on in the draft phase, and after Laud had that great Lucian game, it's smart for them to pick it again early.
Definitely agree, trying to maybe rival Double Lift for number of Lucian games played. Can't believe Double's that, like, 16 games in with only one that wasn't the same champion
15
so
Lucian
far.
And I think 11 or 12 Lucian games in a row.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the stat on that. We're going to get it eventually, whether or not that's the most games in a row a player has played on the same champion in competitive play. I think it is, but I have to confirm.
10 is very large for consecutive champions here. We're going to see a couple things switched up. Nidalee was left on the table, and it doesn't matter. Kindred Gaming going to go back to the Kindred and also play even more backline action with the Caitlyn there. It will be safer for CLG's AD carry, but also means less engaged tools than they had before.
Yeah, they don't have the greatest engaged tools there, but that is just perfect champions for CLG. I think, especially for the way Stixxay and Xmithie have been playing, like, those are their 2 best champions right now. So I think CLG really getting what they want in this draft so far.
Totally agree. It looks like a kind of standard counter gaming composition. The question now is, Envy, what can you play? By the way, Swain this time around, it has been left up. That was banned by CLG every other... Oh, I'm so dumb. It was the first ban. I don't know why I keep doing this. I was like, wait, was Swain banned? No, it wasn't. I'm not seeing the icon. Just kidding. That's not there to bully out the top laner. Jap pointed at his monitor.
I mean, it'll be interesting, right, to see if Seraph has a pick that can take down the Trundle. Because
that's what I was going for.
he tried to pick the Lissandra to, like, oh, I'll just out TP and out pressure early. That didn't work, and then they just picked the Trundle themselves, and that clearly worked. Rumble would be someone who, like, could do it. We've seen some Proto Belt Rumble in the past, and if he gets ahead of him, maybe he can run down the Trundle. I like the fact that they're mixing it up.
Okay, so a cool idea. We're seeing a bit more Rumble in the top lane recently here in North America. Seen it in other regions as well, and I think it's a very fun champion to watch and see potentially succeed. Seraph on the Rumble. We know Elise is going to be playing jungle here with Procxin. And yeah, maybe Rumble's a champion that holds up against Trundle pretty well. It's still weak to Pillar. He doesn't have any blinks or anything, so getting slowed down for a Kindred chase is an option.
Yeah, Rumble just does such absurd amounts of damage that he would stand out to me as someone who might be able to do a Trundle. But it's obviously going to be dependent on how much farm and what items they have. Yeah,
he can't buy a Merlinomicon conveniently here. 500 mana is not exactly ideal in the build, so no access to Grievous Wounds for Ninja, who's going to be running Teleport and Flash most likely. Or sorry, to Seraph, I should say. And maybe something else changes with this one. Last picks for Kindred Gaming to come through, and he's got to quickly switch over to, yes, Twisted Fate plus the Bard. So there's...
Oh, I love it.
There's the global pressure you're asking for, Jat, and I think Huhi on TF is one of his very best.
This is exactly what I wanted CLG to do after game 2. You mentioned Twisted Fate at the end of the last game. I mentioned Bard as soon as it was unbanned. The Trundle first pick was perfect because it denied Seraph. Xmithie's on his best jungler. Like, this is Very typical CLG.
It's almost a blind pick composition. Like, really, this is almost everything they would really want to get for themselves. The Azir and Ryze and Jax off the table, I understand, but it's still CLG able to play some very comfortable things.
And I think the fact that it's a blind pick composition, even though it is exactly CLG's bread and butter, puts them a little bit at risk, because technically Envy has been the most versatile team champion select-wise. Seraph is adding another unique champion to his list, and depending on the versatility of Envy, it's really going to get tested here, because this is CLG doing their stuff, and Envy has all the options to try and counterpick away.
Right, they got to counterpick 3 different roles here. They got to pick jungle later, top lane later, and mid lane later. As they move things around and actually realize, no, they actually want to put Karma in the mid lane anyway. So Ninja thinking that's going to be a good matchup for him, as the final pickup is going to be that Braum as a support after all. Makes their laning phase a little bit weaker, though I think Braum is not the worst into Bard.
Yeah, they're going to try and get backline access with Rumble Ultimate as the only thing, which I think is a little bit suspect, since both Kindred and Caitlyn can just jump out of it. I think it's going to be really tricky for Envy to find the right team fights, although their laning phase could potentially be very strong. And that's going to be what they're going to have to go for.
Well, Karma's definitely a good Morellonomicon user, so I can see them having access to Grievous Wounds, is trying to play the DPS check game up against Trundle, but the only real tank is Braum, and Braum's not going to withstand a Caitlyn and a Kindred for all that long, so we'll see what it ends up interacting as, but we are getting ourselves ready to go into this third game as the lineups get locked in. Seraph on the Rumble, Procxin, the Elise Ninja, flexing that Karma into the mid lane, but there's no big bruiser to keep alive. Maybe the AoE shields keep him up long enough. It's going to be interesting to watch how this plays out, definitely.
Speeding up the Rumble as he tries to run in, like,
sure,
gets ahead, could be like a really cool thing to watch. I love how the champ select in this series has evolved to Trundle being such an important pick, CLG just defaulting back to their stuff, and then Envy just trying to flex their versatility.
So we'll see how well the versatility goes then, because it's your last chance to weigh in on this series, because it's now up to the players. Hashtag CLG winner, hashtag NV win on Twitter, and it's up to CLG to salvage their record, currently 2-3, or for Envy to end week 3 tied for second with the likes of Immortals, just one match behind TSM, if they can take this game home. We are here for the climactic game 3, the last game of the week.
Yeah, we've had match of the week on Friday, but I feel like this is the match that will dictate the match of the week next week. Because if Envy wins, you got a 6-0 TSM up against a 5-1 Envy, or if CLG wins, you got a surging CLG up against Immortals. So regardless of the result of this game, I think both those are going to be hype matchups. But yeah, just to add a little bit more flavor to this one.
I agree. It does.
The winner gets match of the week.
Uh-oh, the flash, the look for the stun. Afro's a flash away, but look at this Huhi's right there. Oh. I would love to see Afro bait that a little bit longer, take the stun, have them walk into the brush. But now Gold Card is down. They go back into Huhi. Cocoon's going to land, and he's going to get stunned up and go down. What a catastrophic start for CLG, but lovely for Envy. First blood comes through, sadly, onto Braum.
Yeah, I think what we saw right there is why aphromoo didn't bait it a little bit longer, because the level 1 on Envy is actually insane. Yes, they did start Cocoon on Procxin, but the fact that they have the Flame Spitter from Seraph and the Mantra Qs from Ninja, those things really hurt. So big start for Envy being able to pick up first blood on Huhi.
So Darshan making an interesting choice, going Fervor on Trundle. That is a bit atypical. There's a chance he didn't change his masteries from when he played Aurelia. We almost always see Grasp on him. Because Trundle's not the same kind of attack speed user as, like, you know, a Trinity Force Fizz or an Aurelia would be. It's honestly very atypical.
Yeah, it's real interesting. Like, I could see it against something like a Maokai if you're going to be fighting him for a really long period of time.
And he may.
Grasp is just insane on Trundle, so it's very unlikely you'd think that to be Fervor. Well, no way of telling if he did it accidentally for now. It's not like he accidentally took Wind Speakers or something on Trundle, so it's not a total disaster. Fervor can still have usage if he can find extended duels with Seraph. It's going to be tough, though, because, like, Rumble can keep Trundle at bay with the harpoons over and over again, which is why I think it's a pretty good matchup, and it's going to make Fervor a lot less ideal.
When Envy don't realize they're on a 2v1 right now, Stixxay was able to get 5 CS here without missing anything. He got the entire first wave, and Afro's nowhere to be seen. Envy could have and should have heavily punished that and denied that first wave.
Yeah, I think the big reason they didn't do that is they respected the level 1 from the Bard and the assumption that he would be there. Yeah. Bard's level 1 is just so incredibly strong to support, but yeah, I agree. Big missed opportunity from Envy playing it a little bit safe.
Now, to play to some of the weaknesses Envy has right now, Procxin did have to start Cocoon, which you normally wouldn't learn for a couple of levels, but look at the damage. Wow, Stixxay. Maybe having to flash away. As soon as Envy hit 2, they go right into that one.
Bard's got the level 1 power spike. Envy's got the level 2 power spike. Let's get it done. Nice job there, burning another summoner spell from CLG. That's now a flashless lane for them.
And despite starting Cocoon, Procxin's actually up levels on Xmithie right now. Level 3 Elise to the only 2, now just 3 on Kindred. So looks like that punishment wasn't too bad for Procxin with Cocoon Repel at level 1. Lands the stun through the minion. Nicely played.
Stixxay missed the follow-up though, so they lose out on a little bit of harass.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun lane to watch knowing that there's 3 burn flashes there. This is Ninja though. Ooh, the laning power of Karma in the mid lane is actually really, really high.
Was able to hit both halves of the queue. Xmithie running through his jungle though, taking everything he can. And via this route is definitely going to be hard farming quite a bit. A late take on the red buff, but has enough health that it's going to be really no problem for him. Keep running through the jungle.
Yeah, and he knows that Procxin's jungle is going to be a little bit slower since he knows he had to start soon. Going to help Xmithie just stay a little bit overpaced on him.
Procxin running down for the scuttle real quick though, and it is the one with the Kindred mark. The thing is, there's just not really a chance for Xmithie to come in time as long as he's able to smite, and he's gonna get it. Procxin gets away from Xmithie, who is sad.
If Procxin had been a little slower killing that, he would have put himself in a really dangerous position because he would have been using his cooldowns on the Scuttle Crab and then kind of face checking Xmithie, which is what Xmithie was waiting for. But to just kind of blindly run out into the river is also something Xmithie didn't want to do. And I don't believe he had vision of the Scuttle Crab take at there because he had just made it in the brush and Procxin was actually rather far distance away from it. So everything plays out as expected there.
Yeah. Xmithie does have one mark, though. I guess he got one on the top side here, so he's not exactly terrible off here. He can keep on moving forward. Look at the 2-on-2 battling back and forth. Stixxay currently up 4 minions, and there's a few more on the field for Envy's duo, but looks like Counterlogic Gaming feeling pretty good about this 2-on-2. Over in the mid lane, Huhi's down a little bit, and on the top side, Darshan -4. Oh, the flash Q is going to land. Afro gets his flash right back up, but look at the layered CC. He can't get away in time. A second kill coming through for Envy, and Ninja makes his way in for the root into the stun, and everybody's down here, and Counterlogic Gaming lose their duo.
Just like that, a 5-man gank. Never mind all the wards that CLG has in the rivers, because that's a double teleport gank. 5 minutes into the game, catches CLG completely off guard. We knew that Stixxay was already down a flash. aphromoo gets chain stunned before he can take his portal, and just a great gank there by Envy, all going down. And they're losing a little bit of pressure in those lanes, but I think the double kill is absolutely worth it.
Definitely is. So a couple of waves lost on the top side, a couple of waves lost in the mid. They're actually staying to knock down bottom out, and the problem is it's before 6 or 7 minutes, so it's not taking a lot of damage from enemy champions, and CLG managed to keep the structure alive.
Yeah.
Seraph stayed to do that damage.
The double kill I like, the stick around I do not, because that gives Trundle a lot of farm in the top lane. But to watch this one more time, you tell aphromoo is being cute, trying to play around the side of the fight and get some harass off, but just instant flash. Love it from Hakuho. They get the stun because of Lucian. Procxin gets the cocoon there, and the Ninja had already teleport flashed in just to get the root onto Stixxay, and that allows the rest of the team to just kind of pile in. A really early gank there. So well executed.
Definitely is. You've got now some nice items on the lot. He's already got his serrated dirk, boots 1, and some more potions. It was a late recall. He's just done it now because he was hitting the turret earlier. So he doesn't quite cultivate the same minion lead he might have had, and some of those will crash into the building. Darshan up 13 thanks to all the earlier shenanigans, but now recalls back with a Spectre's Cowl and boots. So he'll be in a much better spot up against Seraph, and if you actually just look at the money, Seraph is down in gold under Darshan, down in experience as well, because an assist doesn't pay for 3 minion waves.
Yeah, and Spectre's Cowl being completed by Darshan. He's got to feel pretty good, especially knowing that Seraph doesn't have teleport for a while, so the equalizer wouldn't be able to be that game changer with a teleport for another good while.
Yep.
So despite the 3-kill advantage for Envy, we knew that Envy has to kind of play fast here. We don't think their composition scales incredibly well. It's always tricky to talk about the scaling of a Karma team because like those enabler type mid laners really are dependent on the scaling of your other champions. And Laud scales okay with Lucian, but you compare that to like Twisted Fate, Trundle, Kindred. Caitlyn and Bard. I feel like all those champions scale very well. CLG actually just kind of has to stick around until 40 minutes if they can keep the game close, and it's on Envy to make the big risks.
Oh, the gold card's going to land on Ninja, the slow, the red smite as well. Ninja is summonerless, so this could be enough damage to knock him down. They're trying. Another gold card into the everything else, and yes, that's picked up. Xmithie tanks the aggro, runs right back out, and a beautiful kill for Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah, really good gank. I love how Huhi's rushed the early cooldown boots as well to create a very big move speed difference on Ninja, so he can actually walk up to him and get a gold card as Xmithie approaches. It makes the gank much more threatening. Then the cooldown reduction allows him to cycle to a second gold card during the gank, and it all works out for CLG.
Yeah, the cooldown is only 2 minutes 15 seconds for that Ghost to be back up again. He's actually going to have it around the same time Ninja's flash is back up. It's actually faster by 15 seconds, so you can repeat the gank, but now Huhi under attack as here comes Seraph, equalizer Procxin there as well.
Great equalizer.
And he's got no sum, so all the damage gets layered in. The execute by Procxin, and another great dive by Envy, 4-1 in kills.
And Seraph making this rumble work, not necessarily by being a lane matchup bully against Darshan, because Darshan's got the Spectre's Cal and is actually trying to freeze the lane, but by teleporting down and roaming down to the mid lane to make some big plays. 2 assists very early for Seraph. It's still a pretty small goal lead. Now he's in a bit of trouble.
It could be a bit worse. His teleport is down. Look at the damage Darshan's got. Just deletes him, and well, there's part of the value of Fervor at battle. He's doing a lot of damage per hit on that.
Yep.
Just chunks him down.
Totally intentional. Fervor battle there. I mean, it absolutely could be, because Trundle will be doing so much damage with Fervor if he can stick on you for a long period of time. And yeah, CLG really trying to claw back after that great double kill bottom lane from Envy. It seems like the advantage has been erased.
And you can see right there, 14.2 to 14.4. Top lane turret taking plenty of damage now that early game bonus resistance
now they're in trouble.
Okay, teleport's coming in, but a match TP coming in for Huhi and everybody else. Lands only a red card on a Procxin. The red buff lets him run away and heal back up. He's going to be okay.
Yeah, it was enough, though. Twisted Fate ultimate there. Absolutely worth it. I think Darshan and Xmithie would have been in some trouble if Huhi didn't match. But he did, and that cooldown will still be coming back fairly quickly. No harm done.
No harm done. Blue buff going over to Huhi. He's going to keep his mana back up. He's going towards what looks like Rod of Ages here in this build. We'll eventually stack up and get more movement speed later on. So cooldowns, plenty of ultimates, plenty of ghosts and flashes up. That ghost is back up. Ninja's flash nearly so. Basically right now. And we'll see what the next move ends up being now. A very close game. The bot lanes have, honestly, despite the extra kills that Envy had gotten, the first blood earlier and then also these 2 kills, Stixxay and aphromoo up in minions.
Yeah.
Keeping the game close.
Caitlyn's still a very good laner. Stixxay very good. Getting that headshot after jumping away also keeps the Ras up. And it's, I mean, he's just with Berserker Greaves and Adorn's Blade, so he's just keeping his distance very well, avoiding the stuns, avoiding the damage from Caitlyn, and, or sorry, avoiding the damage from Lucian and farming out. Surprising their turret's been able to stay alive as well.
But yeah, Envy never got back down there. Speaking of which, though, here they come. Procxin and Ninja want in. There's a ward, but do they really even care? I don't think CLG can stand for this one. 3v4. Seraph, though, TP disadvantage under Darshan and can't stop the teleport.
Darshan would have to teleport in on a ward or something if they go for this dive, and even then it would be brutal. Like,
they're gonna try. Bartleby catches some minions. They don't have the damage. The flash stun's gonna land. Darshan does arrive, and here they go for the battle. Repel comes in. Procxin's gonna get deleted. They make that play happen, and now here is Huhi. It's a 5 versus 4. Gold card lands on Ninja. A great pillar on a Hakuho, but he shields up, blocks most of the damage, and they can't get much more done. A nice culling doing a lot of damage. Huhi getting injured. CLG walking away with a 1 for 0, and Seraph some alone time at the top lane.
Huhi, a long distance runner there, doesn't have ultimate ghost down to the lane, but the teleport from Darshan just couldn't be better. Even though the Bard ultimate didn't catch anyone, it kept the turret kind of alive and maybe baited Envy to stick around a little bit too long. They easily pick up a kill, and another well-executed play by CLG. They're playing the map quite well.
Playing the TP advantage as well. The 5-on-4 on top of that one. Top lane turret only down to half. That alone time from Seraph let him get a little bit closer in gold, but he's still down 600 under Darshan. Huhi, see where he runs right back in this one. Xmithie gets the bottom side scuttle, gets his second stack finally. He's never quite managed to hunt the right target. I believe he sent his mark over towards Seraph. Looking for the flash and onto Ninja, though. He wants in on this poor little Karma, and the equalizer coming across, and Huhi's gonna ult 5 inches forward to land the kill. Now Xmithie pops slams to fight and stay alive, but Huhi's going to be dropped out by the Flame Spitter. Xmithie trying to run away, but still gets dropped. It's a 2 for 0. Now make that 3 as aphromoo has nowhere to go. Procxin lackadaisically landing the attack and saying, maybe Seraph gets it. Nah, I'll get it myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they were trying to give it to Seraph at the end a little bit there, but Procxin was afraid of losing the kill, so he ends up just going for the kill secure. And they arrive at the right time to get that counter gank off. I feel like Huhi, if he can't get the kill without ultimating, you know, halfway across the screen, essentially, the distance of a flash, it's not worth having, and they end up overcommitting when he uses it right there. Xmithie falls, it gives up 3 kills, and also the dragon. So that'll swing the game right back.
It definitely will. Wow, these games have been so exciting. A lot of action, a lot of dives, and honestly, my favorite League of Legends to watch, where these teams are constantly looking for these plays, these little advantages, and these really nice moves, and now a Drake as well for Envy.
Yeah, watching this fight one more time. Ninjas push up, and Huhi
card.
the red card. Xmithie was there for the gank, and Huhi was a little impatient with locking the gold. That would have been great if it was gold, and they could have gotten the kill early, but then gets gold the second time around, but by that time, Seraph has arrived.
Xmithie dodged his own heal. He walked away too fast.
Yeah, I think he was done for either way, and then aphromoo was trying to come in to help, and he gets caught in the side of it as well. And to kind of jump off your point, yes, these have been very aggressive games. It feels like CLG is really trying to push the tempo, and Envy is a great reactive team, as well as being a team that's willing to push the tempo themselves with how Seraph and Ninja like to play the map, and that just leads to these very chaotic looking games because teams are willing to take risks, and they're very good at catching each other in their own mistakes too.
Yeah, they are. Well, try, brush, cleared out. CLG couldn't find a gank because it was trinket warded. They also won't play for the Rift Herald take. I think the two of them could have duoed it. Looks like no one's really trying to stop that part of the map. That objective maybe could have been snuck by Counter Logic Gaming. They don't go for it though. Darshan will be missing that buff for now. And instead it's now Envy holding this side of the map a bit stronger. Kind of strange to even pink ward that when you realize it is left right away and just kind of give away that 75 gold. True. But now top lane under fire. Bard and Twisted Fate coming around to survive, and Xmithie not far away either. Don't go for the portal just yet. They maybe could have looked for the play. Don't land the stun. One more attack will do it. Down goes the turret, and the flash cocoon's going to land at a Huhi. Why even defend it? You weren't going to stop anything. And a kill goes through to lot 8-4 to Envy.
To me, that feels like a mixed call from CLG. They had the Bard ultimate up, and you were thinking maybe they're going to try and pull another one of those moves, but Darshan didn't have teleport, and maybe they thought he did earlier on when they were making the approach. He didn't. Huhi was late on responding, and once again, that's Envy being very quick to catch CLG in their mistakes. Instant flash cocoon gets the kill.
And now it's up to the turret. A quick shield by Karma gives them one more attack on this one, and they will be able to stay, tank the attacks, knock that one down. Darshan, again in a battle with Seraph, who doesn't land the best of all equalizers, taking 1 million damage and chunked out thanks to the team, thanks to the damage output. Darshan crushing Seraph in the one-on-one. The one thing going well for CLG.
8 stacks of fervor battle by the time he finished him off, getting a lot of damage off, and they stopped it.
Oh no, Ninja gets stunned up. He's almost dead for sure. Gold card across. He cannot help. That is big for CLG.
And more, it's a teleport from Darshan now.
The pillar coming across, landing a slow, but Stixxay on the wrong side of this fight. There's the hit, there's the kill picked off. Procxin landing one back. 2 for 1 overall, still advantage CLG, but losing their AD carry. Rough stuff.
This game, man, so back and forth. Stixxay comes in at the wrong time at the very end of what was a great play by CLG, and they continue to try and push the turret.
And we're seeing, though, Hakuho trying to keep the turret alive, taking up some of the damage, and it will keep that structure standing. A bit of concrete left on it, bit of stone, but still pretty injured here. Envy, to talk about it all, 1,000 gold up, still up that one turret, still up the one Drake buff.
Yeah, watching this one more time. Ninja is trying to actually teleport out, so they cancel the teleport. Xmithie then closes in, and Procxin and Lard aren't quick enough to cutting him off, but Stixxay trapped on one side, and then as the teleport comes in, he actually stutters, thinking he's going to be able to take the fight, but his team's not there to support him in time, and he just dies as Envy's on their retreat path.
Yeah. You guys are good at killing off a Caitlyn, and Stixxay 0-2-1. Not the best start to this game. Some of it's getting 5v2 in the bot lane, but some of it's still a couple of miscues. Envy looking to the mid lane now. Definitely
some great focus by Envy, and Laud with the Ghost Blade is going to make it even harder on Stixxay if he's ever close to him, because he can just get that move speed difference, run right at him. Nice push mid lane by Envy here, able to take a turret.
No defense by Counter Logic. Gaming means it's 4-2 in turrets now, and they can sweep away some boards. That's cute and everything, but definite advantage CLG. Aggressive pink ward uses just to get rid of some of the vision.
Right. So just thinking about the way these teams scale, Envy's probably going to need to continue to make plays, right? They're up 1,500 gold, but their kill distribution isn't great. They have 5 kills on Procxin, and that's going to scale worse than the others, even in the late game, whereas 3 kills on a Darshan.
Right.
Especially with how he's been able to solo kill Seraph for 2 of them. makes things very scary.
Well, now Seraph can proto belt over some pillars, so maybe it's a bit better for him. He takes that one out. Maybe. Maybe it does, but it's not been easy for the poor guy. Equal level. Gold-wise, he's actually only down 600, but you see him fight one-on-one, and it's not even close. And it's a matchup that Seraph wanted after seeing all of Champion select. Rift Herald will not be going down. Looks like that's going to be stopped by the mere glimpse of Envy on that side of the map.
Yeah. Envy waiting for Seraph to get a good equalizer off in the team fight, because he's had some really good equalizers in ganks. And I wonder if he's going to be able to lock down CLG and catch the backline. It could be very good for zoning off damage. Orbit has continued these sieges in the mid lane because of how far ahead Lot is, and Ninja on a mid-game karma, even though he's died a few times, is still a really good enabler.
Definitely is the case right now. And yeah, Lot pops the Yomos, has the bonus attack speed, plenty of attack damage, and chunk, down goes parts of the building. Just chipping it off with little piercing beams of light. Blood once again gets priority to knock down the mid lane right in the face of CLG. Like, they're on the screen with him, and he's like, yeah, I can ignore you and knock these minions down. I know you can't fight me right now. Goes in for Stixxay, gets even more damage onto him. Lod's pretty untouchable, 2-0-3.
Yeah, definitely in a position where he's going to have to carry. We did talk about the game, how their team is more than just Ninja and Seraph. Lot has been stepping up in a big way. He would have such a great KDA if he didn't have that game against Ray where he died like 1 billion times. Because he still has one of the highest KDAs for AD carries in the LCS with that game.
Half of all deaths were to Jarvan the fourth. Now Darshan looking to fight Ninja, but this time around you can see way better kiting tools on Karma, way better than Rumble would be at that, but here we see CLG making a nice little play. This is sneaky. Rift Scuttle cannot see into the pit, and if I check the vision myself, this is not spotted at all. So Xmithie will take this one down quite cleanly. Mountain Drake for CLG, so if they ever are able to play aggressively, this will matter, but only if CLG can play offense. Does Drake even mean anything?
I think it means the world in these close games, especially with Trundle being a split pusher who's trying to take turrets down, and also how if Darshan ever gets 2 people to respond to him, which is likely since Seraph can't solo him, Ninja can't solo him, it just makes the Baron rush that much more threatening since they already have Kindred, which is a fast Baron taker. I think Mountain Drake's actually potentially the best Drake COG could have had in this game.
Interesting. Well, we'll see if it pays off for them then, if they can knock down some major objectives and maybe a Baron Nash for the next Drake. 40 minutes in, Baron has spawned now. It looks like no one was able to take Rift Herald, I believe. Yeah. A minion Rift Herald has slain the Rift Herald, according to spectator chat, so.
We did it.
Yep.
Recursion.
Do you know the call-out for that's actually Gray, by the way? The team it's on is the Gray team. Interesting, yeah. So, FYI.
No strong feelings one way or the other.
Nope. Absence of color. So, 3,000 nearly the lead for Envy. They have equalized the Drakes, at least CLG, but Drake won't mean anything less. They can find an objective. At least Envy can rotate a bit faster. Maybe that'll matter something. Morellonomicon will be the second item out of Ninja to cut healing at some points here, and Black Cleaver now done for Lod. So that is the Lucian power spike, and he's actually a great communicator on the team. He's telling this to his squad, saying, hey, let's fight around me. I'm
there
here.
It is.
And Xmithie is anything but that. Barely survives. Ignite's still on him. Will not take the heal. He keeps jumping out of his own ultimate. Dies to the Ignite from Hakuho. Stun hits too, but it doesn't mean anything. Look at how much damage Envy can do. Hakuho is going to live. The minions are almost gone, so they've got to run away. And now Bard ulti catches nobody, actually. Only their own turret. Procxin gets away. He's not going to get hit by the trap because Elise can walk while still in the air a little bit.
Yep, nice job by Lara. Poor job by Seraph. Darshan, though, trying to take the turret on the other side of Seraph TPs.
And that means a potential TP outplay. Hakuho is still dangerously low. This could be a big fight for CLG. They're going for it right now. The TP's coming around, and it's Trundle running down the map.
Darshan didn't find the greatest TP location, but Twisted Fate is on the flank as well. This is going to be a very long chase. It's very important that Envy stay together because they have a big lead on Bard, and CLG doesn't want to walk in.
They're trying to find the play that forced the flash out of Stixxay, trying to navigate the situation. Now on to aphromoo, down below half HP.
Darshan made it.
Flashes away. Darshan is here. Where's he going to go? It's on to Stixxay. The damage from Procxin, and he's going to take him out. The burn isn't enough. It's not. It's Stixxay staying alive. Procxin looking for a little bit more. Puts the Cocoon over the wall. That is Huhi getting dropped and popped. Ninja takes him out 11-6, and Seraph has made it in. He got the kill to Stixxay. Now he's on Darshan. A little bit of damage there. 4,000 gold lead and a 2-member up for Envy, but now Lot has to deal with a very large troll. The raid boss is just kited out and taken down. More gold coming in. Stixxay killed off as well, and CLG keep walking in, saying, please, take more gold, take more kills, have more fantasy points, and Envy take the ace.
And Envy never gave up on the play. They get the ace as CLG tried to push too far for that one. Seraph, who had initially teleported to the top lane turret, ran all the way down the map just to make it because he knew that fight was gonna last a while. And Envy did a great job staying together, communicating, and outplaying a CLG team who has been together for over a year here. Watching this again, Law does step on a trap to get a little low. And CLG clearly want to pull this play off. They have the Twisted Fate off enough for a while. They take a conservative teleport location, and this was the push-pull. Envy is together, whereas CLG isn't incredibly close. So as long as Envy stays together and never fights CLG head-on, they can stay ahead of them. So as Huhi is arriving, Hakuho goes really hard on a Stixxay, and that keeps CLG spread out. Whereas Envy stays together the whole time, and then Darshan comes in with the pillar, but because Procxin puts so much threat on a Stixxay, everyone on CLG has to run over that way instead of trying to get the kills on a lot of ninjas. So now CLG is still stuck together, but this time they're low. And because this route has taken so long, Seraph was able to come down. And the replay is also so long that the game is going to keep going.
And it's Lod trying to keep his teammate alive. Xmithie forced to once again lambs respite and duel with Procxin. Can he jump the wall properly? Can he make the fight happen? No, he cannot. Unstoppable 7-1-7 in the jungle. A huge Elise and a catch on a Darshan. There should be 2 stuns chained up. The Ignite is on. Lod on a killing spree, 3-0-8. And now Baron's in their sights.
Yeah, and they are using their gold lead beautifully right now. They move in for vision. They don't give CLG time to prep the minion waves and get their advantage, and they immediately go in for a kill. And yeah, Huhi's going to get a turret on the backside, but this Baron is so critical for Envy to try and push their advantage.
It looks like it's going to be theirs, and that gold lead is now 7,000 while also wearing the Baron buff. This is so big for Envy to add another name to that hit list, and it looks like this could be another team falling to the newcomers in the North American LCS. Okay, a couple turns were knocked down, a blue buff stolen by Huhi, but this is always turned around by Envy.
Yeah, Procxin gets a stun onto Xmithie early on, and it looks like CLG would have the advantage, but then Laud pops his Ghost Blade and just unleashes onto Xmithie, who immediately has to pop his ultimate. And whether or not he sticks around for the heal or not, he's going to be dead in that situation. And then Hakuho also runs down the bottom. Great job to knock Darshan up first, then get the stun on him second as Laud is able to arrive. And chain kills allow them to go for Baron.
And I gotta give props to Envy because this is 2 plays in a row where they were communicating sort of cross-regionally in a way. The old replay that was like a minute and a half long, Ninja buffed up Hakuho with a shield so he could get into range like they flashed earlier. And that prior one was Procxin and Laud playing together, turning onto Xmithie at the same time. And again, these are the Korean players talking to the American players, and the coordination's actually working. And so many times we see these sort of half-import teams look like they're just playing dynamic queue.
Exactly, and
That's
sometimes the play styles just click, and everyone has the same idea of what to do. And so far in this game, that seems like what's happening for Envy as they play these team fights. With the Infernal Drake up, they know they have the Baron buff, and they're looking to push hard in the CLG because they know in the back of their head this game's kind of on a timer. Zoning, equalizer, might be trouble though.
Not the best one because Bartolti catches a couple. Procxin needs a trap as well. Low health bars now on Envy. Cullen clears some of the minion wave away, but there's no minions left. They stay to hit the turret down, and they will take it. That is a turret picked up. Envy don't lose any members. They walk away. Dragon is available. It's Infernal Drake. And Envy head over.
Yeah, CLG recalling to get some help in Xmithie. Envy doesn't want to get caught in a bad fight with a bunch of people with half health, but they're going to try and use these Baron-empowered recalls to still get the Drake. And I think they can, actually. With the way CLG is pathing out of base. This could very well be a game-deciding fight if CLG decided to try and stop it, although I don't think they will, based off of how badly they've been losing these fights in the mid-game.
Yeah, still a minute left on Baron buff, plus a 9,000 gold lead. Teleport up on Seraph, holds the top lane. You can see Xmithie and Huhi on the wrong side of the map, and that will be CLG forfeiting this objective. Envy now getting bonus stats, and a great one to pick up here. Lots of ability power and attack damage added to these guys. Just a ton of raw AD on Lot, has a Bloodthirster to his build. Relying on just the Merlinomicon for Karma and doesn't segue his build to add Executioner's Calling. Oh, the flash cocoon's gonna go, but a nice flash away. Huhi's gonna stay alive with a shorter cooldown to boot on that.
Yeah, Huhi's flash will come up sooner, but they still get the flash out for the time being. Remember, the backline access for Envy isn't that great, so they really have to just cut through the front line, which they can do right now with how strong they are.
Another equalizer pushing Huhi away. Huzonia's on top of the flames, gonna tank a Q, but still forced to run away, and Inhibitor's gone as well. A little bit left on this Baron buff, and Envy walk away cleanly.
Yeah, Darshan would really need to get a Rand wins if he wants to be able to walk up to Laud, because right now nothing is stopping the Karma speeded up Lucian with a very potent item build at this stage in the game.
Another empowered recall. Envy resetting more often than...
No, they're just going back to base.
They're just going to reset. They're just going to reset.
All they're gonna do.
Go back out into the lanes. Teleports have been preserved. Ninja and Seraph both have theirs. Only missing 2 ultimates. Laud's back up soon. Seraph not far away either. And though it is unpopular to buy cooldown reduction on a Rumble because you're still gated by your heat, that 10 CDR helps him get his ulti back up a little bit sooner.
Yep.
That sometimes matters a bit.
Sure, he's also close to level 16. One more wave of minions will probably get him there. Leandri's completed as well as Ryze, so that's to me about as strong as Rumble gets in the game. Zhonya's would be the one other thing he'd be able to get, but he's gone Proto Belt instead. I feel like Ninja's at a very powerful point. Like, they're really all power spiked, like, right now.
Yeah.
So them keeping the pressure up is super important, because if Darshan can get 3 or 4 tank items in there, and if Huhi can get to Lichbane and Deathcap, and Stixxay can get to late game, CLG still has better fight team than Envy. But Envy with the 9,000 gold lead right now, and very important item thresholds being reached, are going to look to push in and make something happen.
It is unlikely Envy fails to close the game out, but if they do, this would be a very good stall for CLG. Looking now at the top lane inhibitor turret, CLG needs to start holding parts of their base. You're seeing Darshan actually have priority over Seraph. Despite the fact that Darshan is 2 levels down, he is keeping that lane pressured, and a pillar can stop a teleport, so keeping Seraph out of the fight could be incredibly important for the CLG top laner. There's 4 on 4, maybe a little bit better. Laud goes in, 2 attacks in the turret, and it's going to be more damage being dealt over and over. It's losing HP, down to half now.
No Mikhails yet, no QSS on Laud, so if aphromoo lands the right Tempered Fate and Huhi can get a good gold card, like, there's still a chance that CLG would win this fight, knowing that Rumble may not be involved in this fight. Really curious that Darshan's actually going back to base right now, because I feel like the 4v4 is way better for CLG than the potential 5v5.
Gets poked out, despite the blue buff takes it away, but now Envy have a bit of priority. A stun to Hakuho means almost nothing. Barnaldi catches 3, and here's the teleport in for Seraph. Gold card means nothing for Huhi, a bit of damage, but they cut out Stixxay. He's gone. CLG have no AD carry anymore. Xmithie kited back, and it's Darshan teleporting into the fight, trying to do a little bit of something. Lamb's bite is in, low health bars on Envy, but it does not mean much of anything. It only heals the enemy members, and look at this damage up coming through. Darshan is dead, CLG missing 2, and they could close out some more of this base, but the health bars are low. 5v3, most of them heavily injured. Ninja wants in, finds a bit of poke. Laud healing off of minions. Gold card comes in, a lot of damage onto Seraph's Rumble. Lower and lower his health bar is getting. 1 Nexus turret gone. Gold card hits a cannon minion. Cards hit Laud one more time.
Play by Ambi right here. 10 seconds on Stixxay, but Super Minion is here, and Ambi's gonna keep trying to go.
Almost dead. 1 more hit. Gets a big shield though from the Karma, and now the play for the Nexus. This is now that CLG must go in for the Rumble. They get 1, but Xmithie trades back down. Huhi fighting Procxin. Stixxay's in. They're gonna get everybody just in time. No, he got it, and that's the Nexus, the series, the match, and 2nd place for Envy.
In the nick of time for Envy, they finish off the Nexus. They learned from yesterday. Everyone just hit the Nexus, because in the Immortals game, they failed to do so, and they couldn't win in that situation. So practice makes perfect for them.
Blank stares a little bit by CLG as they fall to 2-4, the worst record we've ever seen from a defending champion this early into the LCS. But Envy can only be happy.
Absolutely. I think Envy, this was the week where they had to prove themselves, and even though they fell to Immortals, taking down the 2-time defending champions, at least proves that they are going to compete for those top spots.
Yes.
And to talk about CLG a little bit with those blank stares, like, this was still a game where they were having the chance of turning it around if they could just get to late game. And I think this loss is worse than some of the other ones, because this was their bread and butter. right? This might signal to them that they need to now fully adapt and maybe change their style because they can't continue on this path with the 2-4 start.
They got out team fought. That was most of it. Like, you look at some of the sort of strategic choices made, and I can't really complain about any of them. It's not like they were too passive or even in some ways too aggressive, really. Felt like they had made pretty good decisions, but Envy were just better at fighting than them. You had Procxin going 7-2 and 9, a great Elise game. You had Lod still with very few deaths, 5-1 and 9 on him. And even though Envy, theoretically in the end game, they could get outscaled, it didn't seem to matter. A 31-minute closure. A great game.
I mean, they are the most flexible champion select team we have in the NALCS.
I agree.
And they are also the most likely to pull out flex picks. Like when they pick Karma,